We actually have two things going on at once. We have that driver who is trapped inside his truck, and then we also have a small structure fire that firefighters continue to work right now. This is where the gas pumps used to be, and I want to show you what's left of the canopy that stood over the gas pumps. Look at this pile of rubble. Now, police say these systems help move their suspects from on screen to in person. It's what they call a proactive approach to surveillance. As we've been traveling down from Kansas City to Oklahoma City, we've been monitoring the reports, making phone calls, gathering the latest information. I'm picking up some speed, right? I'm doing okay. Now, the stopping part is what's what's a little tricky to do, but a lot of fun out here. It's free until 9, and it's open until 11. I'm actually standing right in front of the headlights, so really, if the trick-or-treater is going to be on the sidewalk, you'd be more like of this perspective. There is a street light here that's helping a lot, but it's really important that you make sure your kids are going to be easily visible, and the best way to do that is to send them out with the flashlight. If they have a flashlight, they can see where they're going, as well as cars can see where they are. But other ways to make sure your costume is well lit, you can go to the hardware store and pick up a reflective strip like this, and this just peels off and you can stick it onto your costume like so. So if you're wearing a poncho because of the rain or a trash bag, this might be a good way to make sure that you're well lit. The other way to do it is to go out and pick up a couple of these glow sticks. These are really cheap and they're cool. They can add to your costume, and you can crack them open, shake them up, and they can really make you well seen when you're out on the roadways. We are at the 7-Eleven gas station, and I want to show you what it looks like here. It's completely wiped out. There's just trash, shelves, some of the structure that has just collapsed on top of each other, but the National Guard was just coming through and was surveying the damage, and they told me that this is the location where 3 people sought shelter but did not survive. The employee of the 7-Eleven and a mother and a 3-month-old girl climbed into the freezer of this gas station, hoping to provide some protection for themselves, but they did not get out alive. That is the sad news that we're seeing, and you can look at this destruction and imagine what they were going through. You can see some of the debris, some of the trash, some of the bottles that were in that freezer with them. But again, 3 people right here where we are going live this morning. That is where they lost their lives. More coverage coming from Moore, Oklahoma. Syed Shabbir, 41 Action News.
Now, Syed, you've spent a couple of days down there in Moore, Oklahoma already. I do want to bring some positive light, though, to people who are hearing this, because we can focus so much on the tragedy of, what you were saying about the 7-Eleven there. But are you also hearing these, stories of hope, these stories of survival, the stories that, make you smile and realize that, through all of this, something wonderful can still happen?
That's a great point, Zhao. With every sad story that we're hearing, we're seeing 5 to 10 happy and uplifting stories. There is so much good going on here as far as relief efforts, volunteers, and then the survivorship is just extraordinary. To hear what people went through and to come out on the other side and to kind of be grateful that they are alive, even though they've lost everything. They are staying positive and are looking to the future, looking to clean up and rebuild this community. Staggering numbers tonight from the FBI. Listen to this. 1 person dies every single day during a police chase. And here's what's really shocking. Almost half of those people are innocent bystanders. So today we got a front seat experience to see how police are training to keep you safe. Multiple times a day, police officers are dispatched to an emergency. Whether it's a high-speed chase or a severe medical call, these guys need to know how to move. Monday, officers from several agencies, including the Prairie Village Police Department, set up several training simulations.
Just like everything else, repetition, repetition.
Forwards and back, fast and slow, officers maneuvered through the course, focusing on one thing.
We like to catch the bad guy, there's no doubt about that. However, safety of the public, safety of the officers, getting everybody home at the end of the day is what we're about.
Part of this ribbon turn is to practice our shuffle steering that we do.
Officer Joel Coletti is one of the instructors and says these cones are to simulate walls, parked cars, or objects in the road. This cone represents a small child, and Coletti, driving 65 miles an hour, has to make a split-second decision.
When you're
flying through this? I mean, what's going through your mind?
Well, you have a lot going through your mind.
In addition to taking directions from the dispatcher, drivers are thinking about the suspect, the weather, the traffic, the neighborhood, the time of day, and the innocent bystanders.
Everything makes you have a little bit of tunnel vision. And one of the things that we train on is taking deep breaths.
You have to get comfortable with the car, your own skills and abilities, so you can control the car in a situation when it arises.
Now, police chases can get very dangerous very quickly. In fact, the FBI estimates half of all crashes during a chase occur in the first 2 minutes. Tonight, we walked the streets of the plaza asking people who were heading out to dinner if they knew the latest health report of the restaurant they were going to. None of them did. So I pulled up the report on my cell phone. And when we looked it up, they were in for a big surprise. You're on the plaza.
Okay.
You guys going out to eat at all?
Actually, yeah, we're walking out of Cheesecake Factory.
Bobby Hawk and his friend from out of town weren't too happy to hear the latest numbers of restaurant violations.
We had 68 restaurants closed down because of health violations. There were 27,000 violations issued in just a one-year span, all in Kansas City.
Really?
What do you make of that?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a little disturbing, you know, because you go to a place, you obviously expect that place to be clean and sanitary, and what's more disturbing is maybe not even knowing which places those are.
Lucky for Bobby, the Kansas City Health Department logs each violation online and updates it daily.
You said Cheesecake Factory, right?
We pulled up the report on my phone and found a complaint filed just last week.
They observed an employee online wash hands without using soap. What do you think about that?
Something like that, I would read and think, yeah, I'm still going to go eat there. Some other violations, I'd probably reconsider my thoughts and eat somewhere else.
We did the same thing for Andre Reams and his wife Candace.
There were 27,000 citations issued.
Was the melting pot one?
You know what? Let's check.
The website had 11 violations from an inspection last week, including a missing ceiling tile and meat stored on the floor.
That's disgusting.
Not life and death stuff, though. At the same time, it's not like they found
You got
moldy
stuff from the
cheese
ceiling falling
that
in,
they
you
gave
know
to
what I'm saying,
somebody.
in the kitchen, right? It was a tile, ceiling tile missing, so whatever's in the ceiling, you know, just falling and whatever you're eating and whatnot. I don't know now.
Now, the website does show that the melting pot had a follow-up inspection today, and all of those violations have been taken care of. Now, if you want to check out a restaurant that you go to frequently, just go to our website. We put a link to this website on kshb.com. It's on there right now. The parents here who have kids at Angela's Angel Daycare Center ran into this morning, a taped-up piece of paper saying the entire daycare center was shut down. They had no explanation until now.
The sign in the window says open at Angela's Angels Daycare Center, but the sign on the door says closed indefinitely.
Why are they closing? Like, what happened?
Johellen Browning is one of nearly 50 parents blindsided by the news. She and her 3-year-old Caden have to find somewhere else to go. We tried calling the owner for an explanation, but no one answered. So we pulled the latest report from the Department of Health and Senior Services. The 8-page complaint had put the facility on an 18-month probation in January, citing numerous complaints of failing to meet staff and child ratios. But the department did not order the daycare to close. That's when we went to the owner's home.
Hello, Ms. Harbin.
She came to the door but only opened it a crack, hiding her face from the camera.
A lot of the parents just wish they had some more warning other than just a note on the door.
I understand. Well, that's why I called everybody.
A woman never called us. She never said anything.
They've been trying to call the owner and they're not answering.
Tarbin told me she blames the parents for the closure, saying they aren't paying her what they owe.
Once I pay my employees, I have nothing left over. I'm struggling trying to put food in the daycare and pay the bills.
We pulled Missouri court records that show complaints against her business for outstanding balances with the Division of Employment Security. When I asked Harbin if that had anything to do with the closure.
And I don't appreciate you bringing that out on TV, so it's over.
Now, Harbin has paid many of those outstanding balances and says she'll be working with her landlord to figure out a way to make ends meet. In the meantime, the parents here are having to find another place to take their kids. In Kansas City, Syed Shabbir, 41 Action News.